repeating that. Have courage or shut up. If you don't have courage, shut up, because you really aren't saying too much. You really aren't showing up for much, and your life is probably going to be boring. And I did this because I was watching 500 Hours in UCLA by Ye. And what's up, Isaiah Joseph Winters? And he was speaking to Pharrell about what we do. And I say we because I put me in that. And that is sharing positive words. Have courage or shut up. To be courageous means you are trying the things that you dream of. You're becoming the things that you want to be. You aren't from the sidelines saying, I wish one day, maybe me. You're saying, actually, it is me, so I'm going for it. And for me, with speaking, that means changing how I speak. I only will speak words of courage and positivity. Thank you, El Dario un Emergrante. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate you. So, you will never hear me say, oh, I'm dying. That's fine. I'm not dying. I'm living. I'm living fully. I am thriving. I have a great life. I am learning. I am growing. I am everything. And how powerful that is to speak powerful words. Because if you listen to the words that you say about you, you may then understand why your reality is the way it is. And it is that important. Thank you, Julius Johnson 810, for the follow. You have to understand your words are building your worlds. And I am passionate, but more than that, I just like to live a great life. I'm not around anyone that doesn't want to live a great life. And I'm around other dreamers. I'm around other people that speak things into existence. They may not actually have that life, but they are acting as if they have it. That's how it happens. It doesn't, you don't become it and then it happens. It happens before you become it. And when I entitled this live, Be Courageous or Shut Up, that is what it takes. To be courageous means that you are going to have to dream bigger and further, be better, speak fuller of yourself than what you currently are now. That means that when life is showing up just how it shows up, you say, okay, this isn't what I want. This is not what I see for myself. This is not enough, so I'm out of here. All too often, individuals will say, what's up, what's up? Thank you. This is for YouTube Live. There's people over here on the YouTube Live watching. I'm also on Live. So if you are in a space where life isn't showing up, giving you what you want, if you are next to or in a relationship with a person that isn't showing up how you see life to be, that may not be for you. But to be courageous or shut up means have the courage to expect more out of your life. Have the courage to be so positive that you know it would work out for you, and have the courage to be the change you want to be. I am the change I want to be, meaning I am not looking towards others to mold to how I see the world. I am the change. And you will have to become the change. Instead of instructing others, do this, be that, show up as. And I have this funny story of something that happened within my sisters this weekend. I was traveling to see my niece, and we went out to this tiki. Now, let me first say, I don't like going out to bars. You're not going to find me in a bar. I don't drink. I don't like how it feels. I just don't, I'm in bed asleep. Okay. As I've said, I've drank with the best people at the best places, with the best vintages and champagnes and all that. I've done it. And I got to a point where I said, this is no longer for me. So I don't do it. So I've been sober for quite a few years. So I'm out with the young folks, and by young, I mean like 24-ish. And my sister, and we go to this tiki bar and we sit down. Now, it wasn't really a tiki bar. Me who lived in Hawaii, it was fake Polynesian, but that's just me. I actually know. They did. So, as we're at the bar, my sister, niece, and her roommate order some drinks. I order water because I don't want anything. So they order their drinks, and then we went to order appetizers. Now, I love crab rangoon. And I love crab rangoon because my mom would always order crab rangoon from this Chinese restaurant years ago, and they were delicious and were flavorful. These weren't. Okay, so setting the story up because my expectation was of what I had eaten decades before. So I had this expectation that, wow, these crab rangoons are going to be delicious. They were delivered to the table and they tasted like basura. They were terrible. So bad that I took a bite and was like, ugh, and spit it out because it was terrible. It was terrible. And then I remembered I'm in a bar. I'm in a bar. This is bar food. You're supposed to drink the drinks and then you eat the food, and it doesn't matter because all the food's good after you have a few drinks. So the crab rangoon was disgusting. It was basura. It was terrible. It was one of the absolute worst things I've ever had. Really. It was pretty bad. So bad when I bit into it, the woman across from me, which was my niece's roommate, said, "Whoa, it must be really bad." I said, "Well, yeah, but, oh well." So my niece orders French fries. Now, French fries are always the safest thing to get, okay? Because you can't really go wrong with French fries. My niece ordered French fries. Her roommate ordered pot stickers. My sister ordered spring rolls. And my sister bit into the spring rolls. She said, "These spring rolls taste like they came from the Dollar Tree. Like, these are terrible." She had one of my crab rangoons. It was terrible. She had one of the pot stickers. Terrible. All terrible across the board. Okay? So while this is happening, our server comes to the table to do a check-in. Like, "Hey, how's your food?" Now, this is why I say be courageous, shut up. Because I was closest to the server. I was at the end of the table. So when the server came up to the table, he asked me, he said, "So, how was your food?" And I was looking down and I said, to tell you the truth, these are not good at all. Now, I wasn't actually looking at him because I was looking down at the food. But as I was seeing how terrible the crab rangoon was, I heard my niece say, So I turned to her and she's laughing and she falls over to my sister who's laughing as well. When I turned towards the server, he was walking away. So what happened was, as I was explaining to the server how terrible the crab rangoon was, he just turned and walked away from the table. Like, "Oh, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not. I'm sharing this story because for me it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I can see if you have a busy section at a bar, let alone a bar on a Saturday, and someone graciously is saying how terrible the food is. Maybe he just didn't want to deal with it, but in the middle of my sentence, he just turned and walked away. Went to the back of the restaurant, didn't see him for about 10, 15 minutes. We all thought it was hilarious because we had never seen this. We had never seen someone walk away mid response to the question of how terrible the food was. And I'm sharing this of be courageous or shut up because in that moment, he was courageous. He just walked away. He just said, "Yeah, no, not tonight. Not going to do this." And I saw it as a hilarious, thank you, Diva. Thought it was hilarious. I was thinking of other people in my family who might have thought that this was beyond disrespectful and they probably would have chased the person to the back of the restaurant. To me, I understand you. Walk away mid sentence. Just, I understand it. It's still hilarious. I still am laughing because to ask someone how their food is and when they respond, you just walk away because it was terrible. And I am courageous, anxious enough to say how terrible it is. But he walked away. And I'm sharing that because sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes when life brings us whatever it brings us, walking away is the best option. Sometimes rationalizing or figuring it out or trying to get the response you want. Sometimes to just walk away is what works. Sometimes to just walk away and say, I'm done with this. Let me step away from this. That is what works. And how much courage that? Because how often do you experience something that may not be to your liking, but just stay? Isn't it, Deborah? You just stay. Or you just say, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to make anyone upset. Or, so what? So what? I don't know what you should do. Maybe they just, why do you have to talk to them? We're talking about positivity, but if someone doesn't want to talk to me for a reason, that's okay. I will not force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. And I'm responding to someone in the chat. Again, let me touch on that. I don't care who you support. And that is a part of the divisiveness that I see that may not benefit humanity. You can have your own thoughts, opinions, views, and I can still view you as a human being. I do not see you as less than. That works for you, sure. But I don't think for me that is beneficial as in human sense. Not at all. And I will add to that. If someone does not want to talk to, it's okay. That's what works for them. I am not going to ask, why are you not talking to me? You've made some decision in your mind for you, and that's why you aren't doing it. So there's that. A lot of these things, when I say have courage or shut up, it's that. I don't force, now this is me. I'm not forcing anything in life. I'm not forcing anything. Whether it's someone to talk to me, a relationship, a viewpoint. If I have to force it, it probably is against what the other person naturally chooses. There's never a time where forceful nature is beneficial. Ever. Well, no, Diva, that's for you. Because again, if you believe loneliness is excruciating, well, that is how you label it. But it could also not be loneliness. It could be with yourself, which is freedom. It's all how you see it. I don't find it excruciating to be with myself, but I also don't label it loneliness. Do you see? I'm labeling it with different words. I also have spent an incredible amount of time with myself. I know how powerful that is, and I love that. There's nothing excruciating about being with me. Thank you for continuing to like and share the live. But that may give insight to yourself if you feel that being with yourself is taking away from you in some way. I love my selfhood. And my time as a flight attendant, most of my time was with myself, traveling the world, being in the hotel, exploring different cities. I enjoy it. It's one of the most powerful things. Whether it was hiking by myself, whether it was going to a restaurant by myself, whatever it is, I am content with myself. Notice, I didn't say by myself. There's a difference. Being with yourself and being by yourself are two different things. And yes, it may take courage, but once you find the beauty in being with yourself, there's probably no one else that you will want to be around. Because many people don't like just being with themselves. Many people do find it a negative experience to sit with themselves and their thoughts. Many people will blame themselves and say, I am less than if I'm with myself because my company can only be with others. My company is me. I trust myself. Let me go out on a ledge. There's a large portion of people that don't trust themselves, and you see it in everyday action. You see it in the lack of making a decision. What's up, going in hot, safety off? You see it in the lack of trusting this decision you make. Hey, burr, 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 burr. What's up, Giso? You see it in the lack of being what they are. Yourself is an act of courage. Because I'll be honest, most of you don't know yourselves. I'll go even further. Most of you will never know yourself because of the work that it takes. The work that it takes to know yourself is to do hard things, to fail, which isn't failing, it's a lesson, to be with yourself, to do what you want to do. Not do what someone else told you to do. My courage, my positivity, my confidence comes from no mofos have ever told me what to do, including my parents. You can ask them. I do what I want to. I also trust what I want to do. I also trust my decisions. I don't say, oh, I shouldn't have made that. No, I did. Now I follow through with it and I learn. I don't know where I'm going. Well, I'll figure it out. If I get lost, that will only happen once, and then I will see how I will get lost again. I don't care. The thing is, you care too much about what others are thinking about your journey. So what? Whatever anyone thinks of your journey is for them. It has nothing to do with you. I don't, and when I labeled this have courage or shut up, it also comes from a point being without fear. When I say that most of you, thank you, Nanteza, for sharing the live. Most won't know themselves or be confident because you're too afraid of everything. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of being without. You're afraid of being single. You're afraid of being by yourself. You're afraid of quitting this job. You're afraid of what they think. You're afraid You're afraid to start. You're afraid to stop. You are just afraid. And fear doesn't move. It doesn't move you to anything. It keeps you where you are, which means you're actually not growing, you're changing, you're not living. You're just where you're at. Stop being afraid. What do you have to be afraid of? You think you were born to be in fear? You think you were born to just fail at everything? Maybe you can try a radical act of positivity that, you know what? I'm going for this. You know what? It is working out. You know what? I am a conqueror. You know what? I have courage. That's it. Why would you operate? But I will say this again, because you are afraid, you just won't move. You will beg someone to stay in your life who doesn't even want to be in your life because you're afraid to be without. You know how crazy that sounds? Someone doesn't even want you in their life, and you will refuse to let them leave your life because when they leave, you believe it says something about you when it's everything about them. Exactly. You'll never know if you don't go. That's with everything. Someone. I had someone who said, you know, I'm really upset when people don't invite me out. And I said, well, why would you ask someone who consciously made the decision for you not to come with them why you weren't invited? Why do you want to be that you're not invited to? That's crazy. If you didn't invite me and I have to ask you or beg you to invite me, I don't want to be anyway. But I also am not even consciously thinking of why you didn't invite me. You didn't invite me. Every decision in you led you to not inviting me. That's good enough for me. But I'm not chasing someone to invite me or to have me around. Unless you actually want me around, I don't need to be there. That is courage, not the other way around. That is courage, not the other way around. Light spirit warrior, sure, if that's what you believe, okay. But what's wrong with that? You see, this is when I run to anyone in the chat, none of this, here's the bigger picture, none of this means anything. To me, what means something is how I feel about myself. That's why I am often never moved, because I know how I feel about myself. I know what I've grown from. I know what I've grown into or grown out of. I know that I've had a very expansive life. When I've lived these different places and traveled the world, I don't care. Whatever you think about me is your perspective from the moment you were born until this. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Once I want to believe that it does, I have no control over myself. And I also, sure, whether you agree with me or don't, that's not the point for me. The point is never for you to me. In fact, we have so many different thoughts. For two people to agree on anything is quite rare. But if I'm looking for someone to always agree with how I think or my decisions, or that's crazy. I don't care what you do, light spiritual warrior. And that works for you, sure. But you don't. You don't question when you scrambled it. This is put into context. I'm all for how humanity may work there for their greater good in whatever way. When I say I don't care, it's actually out of love. Because if you only see problems, you can only always see problems. I actually see more similarities in people than things that divide us. I see more things that we have in common, things that we don't have in common. I see more ways that be more compassionate and loving, and how that can be held towards whatever I want in life. But the reality is, I don't care. How you see the world and your life is perfect for you. It has nothing to do with me. You understand that? That's what works for me. That works for me. I've lived in the world, all over the globe. There is not one way to live life. There are trillions of ways. And if you're speaking from this only in the US, let me tell you, my friend, that will leave you without other ways of living, viewing, and adapting life. You know? So when I say have courage or shut up, that's what I'm saying. I don't care. When I came into the space of speaking, my goal wasn't for everyone to agree with. My goal wasn't to gather people that have one aligned train of thought. My goal was whoever is attracted to what I say will hear it, find something that works for them, and that's it. And that's really it with anything in life. When I say this, your life is either a daring adventure or this is a Helen Keller quote. I believe It is, life is either a daring adventure or a boring something. I like it to be a daring adventure, but it's also a daring adventure for me. How someone sees the world is because experiences. And if I truly love humans, I allow your experience to exist. I'm not here to judge your existence or pick it apart or say what you believe is wrong. Okay, so what? Light spirit warrior? Okay, sure. So what? The point is to grow, adapt, and love. Really. When I speak, it is true to be somewhat maybe of a teacher, but I'm never against what anyone is doing in life. I don't have to plug into whatever I believe. I have the choice. I take my energy away from it. I just take my focus away from it. That's it. That's it, and that's all. It's that easy. Believe it or not, it is that easy. So I'm giving a word this weekend. I'm speaking. I'm a closing speaker at this retreat. And I was thinking of, okay, what is the message? What is the word? Because I am diligently on a space of speaking positivity. Then it's not for you to find, light spiritual warrior. It's not for you to find. If it found you for a reason. But if it didn't, it's not for you to find. I was speaking how I was inspired because, listen, I'm courageous because what's the other option? Many people will never know this space of being courageous. Courageous enough to say, I no longer need to be in this space. I'm trying something else because of the fear of I have to stay here. I need the money. Nothing else will come. I've been at this job for X amount of years. What else am I going to do? I never thought that with anything. When it's time for me to shift, change, remove myself, then that's what it is. With pleasure, Diva. The discomfort that comes, and I heard a creator speaking of this, that discomfort of expanding and truly being authentic self, most people will never do. It is way too uncomfortable. It is way too uncomfortable to constantly put yourself in situations that are unfamiliar. And when I speak about being a flight attendant, that was one of the best things because I was always in something unfamiliar. I can adapt to anything. But there's so much comes from that space of being able to be in an uncomfortable, unfamiliar place. Because once it becomes normal, then you can be anywhere and you just know, oh, I can shift, I can adapt, I can grow, I can meet new people. There's no place that I won't go. There's no place I won't move to and say, I can't be there, I don't know anyone. That's great. It allows me to shape myself in a different way. But I see how that can be frightening. To tell people you're up and going to a different space, to let people know you're leaving a profession and that was the only profession you've been in, to let go of a partner or a relationship that you know was uncomfortable, but you don't know what else is out there. You won't know until you do it. And I will always thank you, MC Spice the Legend. I am always going to say, okay, but there's something for me to learn. What about if there is another lesson? What about if there is something greater? What about if this is calling me to grow? What about if this is calling me to change? What about if this is calling me to shift, to adapt? What about if this is calling me to love? To love. And I say that because I've learned a lesson. And the lesson was really about love. I stepped away. I stepped away from something that wasn't for me because I loved myself enough. And I said, that is the love that you seek because you love yourself. To love yourself is to know, okay, yeah, I'm choosing me. I mean, me. Hello, Detroit Sean. I'm not choosing to be somewhere where I am not receiving that response or love that is not there. I'm choosing me. And the moment that you do, you open the space for the purest, brightest shape of love to come into your life. And I mean that. What I mean by that is that love, when you choose yourself, and it's not an easy thing to choose to love you, to choose to love you and say, this isn't for me. Maybe this is this growth opportunity, but I'm choosing to love myself. I'm choosing to love myself because what I want this person or this relationship isn't materializing. And it will when I choose to love myself and say, okay. I say that because that courageous act won't be done by many. Most will just stay because they'll say it's going to hurt too much. I don't want to be by myself. I don't know if I'll find it again. I don't know if I'll recover from that. I don't know, so I'll stay. No, never. I'm out. It's done. Because I love me. I choose the love that I am. That's a real act of courage. That's a real act of love. I choose me. Every time. And I've said this before, I never actually left any sort of romantic relationship for another person. I wouldn't do that. But I have for myself, where I've chosen myself. I said this no longer aligns. And the biggest act of love is to choose me. And the biggest act of love is to step away, because if I choose me, that actually signals to the universe something. But that's also the biggest for that other person. Because then what the other person maybe is seeking is able to enter their life. So you see how this is all revolving. It's a symbiotic relationship. But to choose you, to love you fully, which means I am choosing me. Me is best place to be. I honor. Come here. I know. There you go.
Yeah, but it's safe.
Okay, so we're
small.
How small? Show me where you.
Yeah, just like that.
Oh, the sink is broken. Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just.
Sam has one in her. Okay. Tyrone Johnson, shut up. You don't get to come in my lives and tell them to shoo. And first of all. Second of all, you spelled shoe wrong. You spelled shoe S-H-O-E, which is a shoe, which you need to take your shoe, put it on, and kick rocks. Furthermore, speaker, I'm also a grammar geek. When you do not type a sentence correctly, I don't know what the heck you're saying. Who is interrupting you? You is a letter. Y-O-U is a word. Okay? So, no. What I'm saying is, no, if you can't spell shoe right, then I don't even need to address it. So what I'm saying is, when you choose you first, when you choose to love you, that may mean, what's up? If you are in relationship with someone, and you know it is not for you. And maybe you've even spoken to the person and it's not what you want and it's uncomfortable. And you know, as human beings, we know. Call it intuition, call it a feeling, you know. But you choose to say, well, it's good enough. The person chooses me. We've been together so long. I'm choosing me. When I say yes to me, I'm saying yes to the universe or whatever else that you may label it to allow what's for me to come. I choose me. I choose me. I choose me. When I left from flying, my career of 15 years, I knew I was going to go. No longer fulfilled me, but it got to that point where it wasn't challenging me. And I do like a challenge. And it got to a point where most of you have this, but you will not respond to it. When you go to that place of business or that job, it irks you. There's a discomfort. You know it's not for you. You know there's something else for you. You know you could be do something else. And it keeps growing. That feeling keeps getting bigger and louder and a nuisance, and it'll turn into digestion issues or a headache or weight gain or irritability because your body is trying to tell you this ain't for you. But you refuse to take it because you don't believe anything else could come for you. You don't even trust. And when I say most people don't trust themselves, just look at their actions. Look at their actions. Look how they talk about themselves or others. They don't even believe that there's anything else for them. Oh, I know. I don't believe. I know. I saw my father do it. I saw the men in my lineage as well as the women. Everything that leaves will be replaced with something if that's what you believe. But if you don't believe it, you'll just stay where you're not wanted, get ran over, get stepped on, not even like it. But oh well. Ain't nothing else to do, not me. That's why when I say to be courageous, you either be courageous or shut up. I can speak like this because I've done it. I know how difficult it may be, but at the same time, what's the other option? To stay unhappy? To stay in a place where you're not respected or loved or heard or seen in any way, and you just take it, and slowly your spirit and your soul is dying, but you don't trust yourself to know that there be more for you? That's why people are so irritable and mad all the time. They're in spaces that they outgrew 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago, and they refuse to go. Even with people, especially with people, because that can be the hardest part. I know. That can be the hardest. The other part is sometimes it may take that moment of separation to understand, oh, okay, I've grown a bit. Maybe I can revisit. I don't know. I don't think anything in life is clear cut. To me, there are no certainties. And I remember someone telling me, oh, I like certainty. Let me tell you, there are none. Especially in air travel. There are no certainties. From a former flight attendant or from the daughter of a pilot. There are no certainties, definitely in air travel, but in life, you get to decide. My certainty is because I depend on me. My certainty is because I say, oh, yeah, this is my life is going to go. I'm not just going with the flow. Bump that. I create the wave. There's a difference. I'm not going with the flow. I create the wave. I ride the wave. I stand up on the board. I direct the surfboard. I create the current. I'm not just going with the flow so you can crash into a wall or go into the sewage water. No. I'm not going with the flow. I'm creating the wave. You're a creator. This is why you were born. You weren't born just to say, well, this is as good as it gets. Why? Dream. Try. Be more. Expand. Love yourself. Forgive yourself. A lot of you don't even want to forgive yourself for something you did 20 years ago, keeping you stuck. Why? Punish yourself. Be courageous or shut up. And a lot of people just have to shut up because they refuse to be courageous. And they're refusing just out of a simple thought. They haven't even seen the outcome of being courageous may be. They'll just decide not to. They'll just decide it's not for them. No, it is for you. What are you afraid of? Tell me in the chat, what are you afraid of? What is holding you back? What is holding you back? Is it you? Is it fear of what other people will think? Is it fear of failure, which doesn't exist? It's only a lesson? Is it fear of being without, which really doesn't exist? What is it? What is keeping you from the courageous that was already you? Why don't you believe that you can have more? Why don't you believe that you were born to have more? Or let's say born to have what you want. Because if you believe I just can't, well then, okay, then that makes sense. But why? Why can't it just be the opposite, that you just can't? So again, be courageous or shut up. How can being courageous harm you? Because it can't. What you learn from being courageous is, whoa, I can do so much more. I'm so much stronger than I thought. I'm so much bolder than I thought. I'm so malleable. I'm so adaptable. I can do this. A lot of it comes from, and this is coming from me who doesn't care to always be around familiar. You've been around familiar places and people so much that you fear how they will see what you do. So if you're around the same friends or family that you went to high school with, and then you decide to change your hair or change your profession or change your way of thought, the fear is the response of how you now show up, which doesn't mean anything, because guess what? Everyone's always going to have an opinion. So what? So what? I don't care. I truly don't. I don't. Okay. If I feel that what you say affects me, I probably actually really believe in what I'm doing. And that's a beautiful space of growth. So you can ask yourself, well, why don't I believe in myself? Why don't I trust myself? Why don't I believe in what I'm able to provide for myself? Because there's growth from that. And that growth will lead to even more growth. And when I say there is no failure, it's only a lesson, that's truth. I've lived a very colorful life, so I would know. So be courageous or shut up. The beauty of your courage is how it will actually inspire others, and you don't even know. You don't even know how it's inspiring to others. Because I'm the change I want to see in the world. And what does that mean? That means what I want to see in the world, I am it. I'm not wearing a shirt saying drink tea every day. No, I drink tea every day. Pick up litter. No, I just pick it up. I am not going out expecting others to do it because I do it myself. Be the change. If you always speak about it and grab others, people will naturally gravitate towards you. But to be in a space of I have to bring these others towards me, maybe that works. I don't know. I don't know. My intention was to stay on a bit longer. I did not know how low my phone battery was. However, has this been helpful to those in the chat? Put a diamond if this is helpful. If you have a question about courage or change, put it in the chat. I will answer some, and then I'm going to get off live. My area of growth, training myself not to condemn myself for quitting my job. Okay, so Karen, it's not even training. Let's change the words that. Thank you, Neat King. Thank you, Karen. All you see are so important. If you're training yourself, you're not training yourself to walk. All you have, the beauty is shifting your words. You're not training yourself not to condemn yourself. What you are doing is accept you loved yourself enough to leave something that was no longer for you. You see how I just switched those words? You don't need to how do you track me? How you do that? Because most of the time, let me share with you, these are just sentences we're making up, but we're not actually you're not actually training yourself. You didn't print out a guidebook of how to train. You didn't. All you can do, which is the most beneficial, is change words. I love that I left that was no longer for me. That's it. Why do you need to train yourself? You listened to yourself. You honored yourself. You loved yourself. You took yourself out of a space that wasn't adding to you. I know, I've done it. That's it. So there it is with the words. Because once you do it once, you've already done it. So it will now show up in other areas of your life. And here's the other thing, Karen, aka Michelle. If you do it in one area of your life, be aware that it will now show up in other areas. John Scott, again, first of all, what you said, I care and thank you. It's both. So when you choose to leave something that no longer serves you, maybe a hostile work environment, that will then show up in how you even treat yourself. That will then show up in relations with others. That will then show up in self-abandonment. It will start to show up in other areas. So congratulate yourself. And it's not training. You honored yourself. I'm loving that I honored myself. I listened, and I go on every day listening and honoring myself. Because that is, yes, that is a strength. That is courage. As I've shared, most won't do it. It's too uncomfortable. Leave a job? Why would, man, I'll leave a job so fast. I've never been in an occupation, though, that I haven't loved what I've done. So also trust timing. Most are so tied to their jobs and livelihood that it is actually taking away from their life. It is giving them high blood pressure. It is all of the signs, not being able to sleep, headaches, all of these things. But you lose because why would I leave my job? Well, it just may not be for you. But the beauty in having that courage is you get to see what is for you. You get to see what is for you. And it can be uncomfortable at times, but it's the biggest present of love to you. Honor yourself, to love yourself, to say, you know, this ain't for me, and I'm going to honor that. I'm going to listen, and I am ready for what is for me. There's that. Yes, honor yourself. Absolutely. To honor yourself is the present of love. And all of this is courage. But if it comes to an occupation or a relationship, that is going to test most people. Because if your relationship with yourself, oh, I just need to do this, I need to abandon myself to help others, you probably will show up that way in everything you do. I just need to stay here. I just need to stay in this friendship, relationship. You don't have to do anything, to be completely honest. However, every time you honor yourself, your courage is being expanded. The love for yourself is growing, and you will see it, and you will see a change in you, and you will see a glow in you, and you see yourself walking a bit taller with your shoulders back because you're honoring yourself, and you're breaking out of anything that says don't honor yourself, only honor others. Because a lot of us were taught to honor others. I'll give the shirt off my back. I won't. No. Why am I going to give the shirt off my back? Go make a shirt. No, especially to women, to disservice yourself for the love of others. No. And this is slightly, some forms of love for women have been about withstanding pain, mistreatment, and abuse in the name of love. Not for me. Not for me. Oh, I loved him so much, I just kept at. No. If there's constant dishonesty, if there's constant discomfort towards me, to withstand it does not mean I have more love. It's just showing how I can disservice myself. That is not the same. To withstand several levels of disservice, mistreatment, and disregard and disrespect does not mean that you are showing love. It just means that you maybe have a convoluted sense of what love is. Does that to me is not love. To withstand disrespect and dis-ease and mistreatment does not show a exponential space of love. No, absolutely not. Thank you, John Scott. To honor yourself is say, I can love you and love myself even more. In fact, I've said that. I love you, but I love myself even more, baby. I love myself even more. And I will be okay. So I'm stepping away from this. I'm stepping away from this. I love myself courageously. And that's in anything. When I say that lack of fear in anything will lead you to love. I'm afraid of quitting this job. No, I'm not. I'm afraid of leaving this person. No, I'm not. I'm me. I love me. And more will come when I take the courageous act to open that space. Yes. I understand, John Scott. And yes, that is the truth. I will not place myself in an environment where I'm not respected and honored. Sure. And here's the other thing. Also speaking that, saying, hey, when X, Y, and Z happened, I felt, not you, there's a difference of you did this. No. I felt disrespected and dishonored. If this happens again, I will remove myself. Now, the first time, once you speak that, then the person can be held accountable. The first sign is the first sign of disrespect is the first notion for you to get courageously with love. Not say you should have known. You don't know what people know. But once you voice it in a loving way, in a loving, compassionate way, then that other party understands and can be held accountable. So if it happens again, then you can say, all right, I spoke about this, now I can remove myself or whatever action. But to courageously say I withstood this for 20 years, that's not courageous. That is not courageous, let me tell you. Hire me for what, John Scott? So that act of be courageous, shut up, means in all of it, all of this. Well, I don't know what you are. Send me, DM me, because you don't even have a real picture, so you may not even be a real person, John Scott. Um, or go to my link in bio, because that is there in my link in bio. So my battery, so I'm going to close this out. I've done about an hour. Be courageous or shut up, because to be courageous is the biggest form of love for yourself. I am speaking this weekend. I am the closing speaker at a retreat, so I may be on live or I may live stream that. However, I will be traveling, so I'm hopping on live as much as I can, because the next, from here until the end of the year, I know I'm hilarious, traveling and be at events, which I'm really excited about. And that's what I do. I'm a speaker. I am absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I am proud of me too. Thank you. I typically come on for about 90 minutes, but I did not know my battery was so low. I upload my lives to my Hope is Speaking, so you can go to my Hope is Speaking YouTube and go to TikTok Live. I also have meditations and like positive content, because it all comes down to confidence. What I speak of is mainly about confidence, and it's through what I've experienced in life. And you can find my TED Talk all in my link in bio, all of that. In fact, I think it's about the anniversary of my TED Talk that I gave last year in Germany, but that's in my link in bio. I really do this. This is my passion, and I do it well. So if it has helped you in any way, send me a message. Go subscribe to my Hope is Speaking YouTube. Follow me here. And I am attempting to come live every day until I event on the weekend. So I close my lives with these three things. Be the reflection of love, because thank you, John Scott. We all from an infinite source of love. Show up. Show up, show up, show up. Show up for your dreams, show up for your workout, show up for you. Because if you don't show up, it won't happen. And finally, really, let's live. Be courageous or shut up. If you ain't courageous, I don't care. Because we do encourage over here. We're living fully over here. We are experiencing life and not complaining. We're adapting. Big Sean had a line in his song, I don't complain about life, I adapt. That's what I do. If you're complaining, we aren't the same. So I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone on my YouTube Live.